What's good, y'all? It's your boy Tony the Savant back with another one. I just want to do the intro real quick. Shout out to the BCE, the SE, my boy Mello, that's the president. Shout out to my boy Jeezy, that's the manager. Shout out to my baby cousin Hog, been supporting since day one. I love that, and I love you, G. I see you. Let's get into the title. Let's get into the video. You see the title of the video, man. It's we're talking about the Netflix special, quarterback. I said a little while ago that I was gonna when they first announced this. Oh no, I believe when it had finally wrapped up. They finally finished the season one. That I'm actually watching it now. I get a chance to anyway. I said earlier that I was going to cover this series, and that was probably about a month ago now. So it may be a little bit of old news, but this is just for everybody out there that hasn't had the chance to sit down and watch it. I'll watch it so you don't have to, or you can if you still want to, if you like. But it's a very cool concept. I believe Peyton Manning, the great Peyton Manning, he came up with this idea for the show, and you know, he opens up the show. I love how Peyton Manning just approaches life, approaches the game. He just opens up the show and says, I did this show because I'm personally biased towards the quarterback position, which is dope because a lot of times guys try to act like they just all world for everybody and all that kind of stuff. Nah, Peyton Manning, he was always known as a renowned football genius, quarterback genius, and so now I'm loving that. Even though the quarterbacks, they do get a lot of shine, a lot of press, and all that kind of stuff. Peyton Manning is allowing us or affording us an opportunity to meet these guys behind the scenes and let us get to kind of get a feel of how they are when they're not on the field and all that kind of stuff. So nonetheless, I love how Peyton Manning he introduces the show. Excuse me, let me hit my teeth, guys. Love how he introduces the show, and then from there we get into the stars of the show, which is going to be my boy Patrick Mahomes, my favorite quarterback right now. If y'all don't know, man, I've been watching Patrick Mahomes since he was in high school. Patrick Mahomes is actually from, I'm not positively where he's from exactly, but he went to high school and right here in this little part of Texas I'm in East Texas, right up the street at White House. So I've been following him since he was pretty much a kid, and I've been a part of his journey, you know, as a fan, of course, but just being a part of his journey since the beginning and seeing where he is now. I'm loving that he's on this show because, of course, you know, I don't know Patrick Mahomes personally. I have been a little bit closer to his story and his journey, but you know, as far as him as a person, him as a man, I was excited to see that he was on this show for that reason, kind of see how he is in his day-to-day. It also features Kirk Cousins, another one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I've been loving Kirk Cousins since his days in Washington, to be honest. Excuse me, his You Like That, you know, we all know when he had that comeback in Washington and he hit the camera, you like that, you like that. I've been guilty of biting that. I've used that a few times in softball games, flag football games, basketball games. You know, you hit the right shot, make the right play. Oh, you like that, you like that. I bit that bar, Kirk. I'm sorry, man, but nonetheless, Kirk Cousins is probably the guy that I relate to the most. As far as now, personality-wise, I meant to say this about Pat Mahomes. Watching the show, I realized that me and Pat Mahomes have a lot of the same personality traits. He hates photography ops. So do I. My wife has to literally pay me to do family photos. I love doing it. You know, after the fact, when you get the memory and all that kind of stuff, when you actually put the picture in the frame, I love that part. You know what I mean? I'll be honest. I'm a sucker for family memories. But it's the actual getting dressed and going to take pictures, and you know, especially with once you have children and you got to kind of manage the children and also look good and pose and not sweat. No, I hate pictures, bro. I've never really been a big selfie guy, so I love that Patrick Mahomes has that same trait as well. But the guy that I'm most relatable to in the show is probably going to be Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins is at that dad stage, you know, right now where he's having these talks with his children, and he just lives his day, kind of goes through his day as a normal guy. I do appreciate that, and I love that because that's me. You know what I mean? I like to think I'm a dad's dad kind of a dude, and I just kind of go through my day, you know, routine, you know, consistent. all that kind of stuff. So watching Kirk Cousins and seeing him behind the scenes is going to be very exciting as this show unfolds. And then last but not least, we got the former Oregon Duck, Marcus Mariota. Another one of my favorite quarterbacks. Now I will say this about Mariota. I was very high on Mariota back with him and Jameis Winston was going back and forth, and they everybody trying to determine who was the better of the two. I was one, and everybody felt like majority of people was on the Jameis Winston train. I was one of the few people on the Marcus Mariota train. I just like how he was a little bit more diverse in his game, a lot more consistent, I guess you could say. Jameis Winston was a lot more flashier, big play, big arm. I loved him too as a player. But if I had to pick between the two of who I would have drafted, it definitely would have been Marcus Mariota. So watching him, watching him on this show is going to be pretty cool as well. He's turned out more as a journeyman in the league nowadays. Played for a few teams, the Hawks. Not the Hawks, the Atlanta Falcons, the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they were still Oakland when he was there, but nonetheless. And he got drafted, I believe, by the Tennessee Titans. But nonetheless, he's been a journeyman over his NFL career. So, looking at these three guys and their three different journeys is going to be exciting. The first episode was kind of light. They did the first few weeks of the NFL season. This one that just passed, and kind of going over some of the highs and lows of the first few weeks of the season. Marcus Mariota, for the most part, he just found out at that time he was having a baby. It was just being a newly acquired member of the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins, was talking about that famous Week 2 game when they got skunked, essentially. I believe, was it the Detroit Lions? Forget who it was, that Week 2 last year when the Vikings got skunked. After a phenomenal game 1, and they did a bounce back in game 3, phenomenal week 1 and bounce back in week 3. Week 2 is just a very low point. Kirk Cousins highlights that in the show. And I like how he goes about it. A lot of times people don't realize that these big time, athletes, not just quarterbacks, these big time athletes still have emotions, man. They hear everything that we're saying. Probably not me personally with my, my humble beginnings of my channel, but they definitely hear what the media says about them. A lot of that stuff they take to heart. A lot of these, not everybody is as mentally tough as the next guy or what this, that, and the third. And I'm not knocking Kirk Cousins for that, but I appreciate how the show, it highlights how he meditates and really, just gets into the moment and try to think about everything that happens. Even when he has a great game and a good game, Kirk, he has this approach in his mind where it's like, hey, it's the things that I did wrong, and that I need to fix and I need to, perfect and become a better person and a better player. And the show really does a good job about highlighting that about, Kirk Cousins. And man, and of course, Pat Mahomes. He had his Super Bowl year. Actually, the show also highlights how Pat Mahomes is expecting, I believe, a baby girl. I know he has a daughter. I don't know if they was expecting her or the second child. I believe it's the second child. But just going into his, daily routines, I love how Pat Mahomes is so tight with his family. I love that Pat Mahomes is a dog, bro. He has he has the baby face features. He got that Steph Curry kind of esque to him, where it's like you look at him and you don't think he's much of a competitor. I mean, he is because we know his work. But when you're looking at Pat Mahomes, I guess on just a picture, and if you didn't know he was a quarterback, you wouldn't assume that this dude is a trash talker. You know what I mean? Just the toughest dude on the court, on the field. Honestly, I want to highlight this because I think this is the part of the show that I love the most. When Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs had their, I believe it was week 2 or whatever, I think week 2 or 3, whatever game it was this past season when they went against the Las Vegas Raiders for the first time. And Pat Mahomes is just expressing when those rivalry games come up, the vibes are different. The fans are always kind of tough on the players, no matter where you at home or on the road. But he was just saying how the vibes from the fans are different. The feel of the game is different because it's a rivalry game, and that it's got a lot of bragging rights and media attention on these rivalry games. And not only that, there's a lot of implications for the playoffs and the postseason, all that kind of stuff. So I love that when they highlighted this game, it was showing how the Max Crosby of I think he's a defensive linebacker for the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm not too familiar with his work, but I'm learning about Max Crosby right now. I didn't know he was such a dog too, but he was just, giving Pat Mahomes a hard time, coming up, punching him in the arm after every play, holding him a little longer, after Pat Mahomes throws. Just being a pest, trying to get in Pat Mahomes' head. Pat Mahomes, and I believe at that time when he was just like nitpicking Pat Mahomes, the Raiders was up 14-0 on the Kansas City Chiefs, and you can see throughout the game, that Pat Mahomes is noticeably irritated. He's missing, simple throws because Crosby is in his head to a degree. Then all of a sudden, Pat just snapped. He just like, I'm tired of this dude. I'm gonna go down, score. And then all of a sudden, you hear he got his score. It's 14-6, at this point. But Pat Mahomes is talking like he up by 100 points. Like, oh, y'all see that? I'm here. I'm here all day. So I just want y'all to go. I'm imploring y'all to go watch the show. If you haven't, it's a very good quality show. Very produced very well. You can definitely tell that Peyton Manning was very involved in the inner details, the intricacies of this show, and I'm enjoying it. And I'm only in one episode in, so like I say, I'm going to have a couple videos covering the next few episodes, and hopefully this quarterback thing, the show, is able to grow into something where it's something epic, and we can get more of these behind the scenes and in-depth looks into these star quarterbacks' lives. I don't want to be intrusive or nothing, but I'm a media guy now. I need to know. I want to know. It's what I'm interested in. So, but very dope show. I implore y'all to go check it out. Netflix's Quarterback. A very dope show. So anyway, that's just my commentary, my thoughts on that. Y'all please like, subscribe, comment, share. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content on this channel. Again, I can't thank y'all. Y'all know I end every video with just a thank you, appreciation. I'm humble. I love y'all. Y'all are the bosses. I am just the guy that loves to work. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm taking notes, laptop, 2 phones. I'm me and Mama Savant gotta have a discussion almost weekly about, hey, listen, once this thing pops off and I'm able to, I'm probably be working even harder then, but I'll just be telling her this. I'm gonna probably be working even harder when we get more success. But I tell Mama Savant all the time, like, baby, I'm sorry, we're gonna do a date night, we're gonna do all that, but right now I got to get to the headlines. It's crazy with the sports world, everything that's going on in the sports world right now. It's a beautiful time to be a sports media journalist. So anyway, that's just me. I love to do this. I love y'all. I appreciate it. Y'all are the bosses. I'm not a player. I'm not a coach. I'm a savant. Y'all be blessed. Salute.